Let's get right into it. What if the greatest medicine in the world isn't a pill or a surgery, but simply belief? Number 7. The sugar pill revolution. For decades, medicine was about chemicals, scalpels, and science, or so we thought. But then came the sugar pill. Doctors gave patients little white pills with no active ingredients at all, and something strange happened. The patients got better. Headaches faded, pain lessened, even symptoms of chronic illnesses eased up. Not just in 1 or 2 cases, this was happening across entire studies. It shook the foundation of modern medicine. How could a fake pill do what real medicine was supposed to? Researchers realized that belief itself was a kind of hidden ingredient. When patients trusted they were being healed, their bodies actually responded. Blood pressure dropped, pain receptors dulled, and moods lifted. This wasn't superstition. It was the placebo effect in action. A sugar pill had unlocked the brain's ability to heal, or at least to cope. So, the next time someone shrugs off the idea of mind over matter, remember that entire hospitals once underestimated the sheer power of belief. And you might ask yourself, how often is your body just waiting for your mind to tell it, "It's okay, we're healing now"? So, find one small thing this week to believe in a little more fully, and see if it shifts how you feel. Number 6. The dark side, the nocebo effect. If belief can heal you, then disbelief or fear can make you sick. That's the terrifying mirror image of the placebo effect, called the nocebo effect. Doctors have seen patients develop crippling side effects after taking harmless sugar pills just because they were told to expect nausea or headaches. Some patients even reported feeling weak or faint when warned about certain symptoms that couldn't possibly come from the treatment. In rare cases, the consequences have been deadly. There are chilling stories of people who believed themselves cursed or poisoned and whose bodies spiraled into fatal decline, even though nothing physical had harmed them. The brain doesn't just respond to hope, it also responds to fear, and when it does, it can sabotage the body. That means the words a doctor uses, or the way we interpret our own health, can carry more power than we realize. The nocebo effect is proof that the mind can weaponize itself against the body. So, next time you catch yourself bracing for the worst, try shifting your inner story just slightly, because sometimes the story alone decides how your body reacts. Number 5. Soldiers, morphine, and the battlefield trick. Picture this. World War II, a field hospital near the front lines. Wounded soldiers are streaming in, bloodied and broken, in need of urgent surgery. But there's a problem. Morphine supplies have run out. Soldiers are terrified, expecting to feel every cut of the scalpel. An anesthesiologist named Henry Beecher was desperate. He couldn't stop the surgeries, so he did something bold. He filled syringes with salt water, nothing more, and told the soldiers they were receiving pain-relieving morphine. And then, something extraordinary happened. The soldiers relaxed. Their panic eased. Some of them reported their pain dropping to manageable levels, as if they'd really received morphine. The surgeries went forward with far less distress than anyone expected. This was not a minor trick, it was a medical revelation. Beecher returned from the war convinced that the mind could unleash its own pharmacy under the right circumstances. Decades of research followed, proving that pain relief wasn't just about chemicals, it was about expectation, trust, and context. Think about it. In the most brutal conditions imaginable, when survival depended on it, the brain turned a saline drip into a powerful painkiller. That's the placebo effect at its most heroic, a story where belief was as strong as any drug on the battlefield. So, next time you face a stressful moment, remember your body might already have the tools to cope if you can convince your brain to open the cabinet. Number 4. Sham surgeries that worked. It sounds like science fiction, people recovering from operations that never really happened, but clinical trials have shown exactly that. Take knee surgery. In one famous study, some patients received the full surgical procedure, while others were simply cut open, stitched up, and sent home without any actual repair. Months later, both groups reported similar improvements in pain and mobility. The fake surgery patients believed they had been treated, and their bodies responded as if they had. It's not just knees. Heart procedures, back surgeries, even brain surgeries have shown placebo effects. Sometimes, the ritual of surgery, the gown, the anesthesia, the scar, creates enough belief in healing to trigger real results. It doesn't mean surgeries don't work, but it does mean belief and ritual play a much bigger role in recovery than we like to admit. So, next time you're facing something tough, remember, even rituals that seem symbolic can be part of the healing process if your brain buys into them. Number 3. How belief hijacks the brain. We often think of placebos as fake medicine, but neuroscience paints a different picture. When you swallow a sugar pill and believe it's pain relief, your brain doesn't just imagine the result. It kicks into gear chemically. Brain scans show placebos can activate opioid pathways, the same system that morphine taps into. Your brain actually releases endorphins, your body's natural painkillers. Placebos can also light up dopamine circuits, lifting mood and motivation, almost like antidepressants. In some cases, immune responses even shift, as if the body were gearing up to fight infection. This is not all in your head. It's biochemistry. The story you believe about your treatment rewires the brain's chemistry in real time. And that's why patients report not just imagined improvements, but actual measurable changes. It makes you wonder, how much of our health is dictated by biology alone, and how much is shaped by the beliefs layered on top of it? Science keeps peeling back the curtain, but one truth stands out: your brain is a drug lab, and it responds to expectation. So, the next time you doubt your ability to change, consider that your brain may just be waiting for permission to flood your body with its own medicine. Number 2. Cultural placebos, curses, rituals, and miracles. Long before clinical trials, cultures around the world were already tapping into the power of belief. Shamans, priests, healers, they all had one thing in common: rituals that convinced people they were healed, and often, people truly felt better. Anthropologists studying remote tribes have documented cases of curses causing sudden illness and elaborate ceremonies reversing them. Modern doctors might call it placebo or nocebo, but for those cultures, it was reality. Even in today's world, rituals persist, whether it's a lucky charm before surgery or lighting a candle in hope of recovery. These aren't just symbols, they are psychological triggers that shape how the body responds. Belief isn't just personal, it's cultural. And when an entire community reinforces the story of healing, the effect can be even more powerful. So, pay attention to the small rituals in your life, because sometimes the meaning you give them is what makes them work. Number 1. The ethical dilemma. Should doctors prescribe placebos? Here's the million-dollar question. If placebos can heal, should doctors use them? On one hand, prescribing a placebo without telling a patient feels like a betrayal of trust. Medicine is supposed to be about truth. On the other hand, studies show that even when patients know they're taking a placebo, so-called open-label placebos, many still experience real benefits. Just the ritual of taking a pill, with the authority of a doctor behind it, can unlock healing responses. That's left the medical community divided. Some argue that if hope and expectation can trigger healing, doctors should use every tool available. Others warn that blurring the line between truth and trickery erodes the foundation of medical ethics. It's a delicate balance, but maybe the future isn't about lying or withholding, but about reframing. Imagine a doctor saying, "This pill doesn't contain medicine, but research shows it can help your body heal itself." That's honest, and yet it still carries the potential power of the placebo. At the end of the day, the placebo effect isn't about trickery, it's about hope. And hope might be the most underestimated medicine of all. So, the next time you feel powerless about your health, remember that even your brain wants to help sometimes, it just needs you to believe. Belief can heal, belief can harm, and sometimes, belief can do more than medicine itself. If you found yourself hooked by these stories of the mind's hidden power, stick around, because this channel is all about uncovering how the brain tricks, heals, and rewires itself in ways science is only beginning to explain. So, subscribe if you want more of these deep dives into the brain's weirdest secrets, and share this with someone who could use a reminder that the mind isn't just along for the ride, it's often in the driver's seat.